more and more of a thing that needs to be continued to be talked about. So without further ado, let's introduce Katie. Katie, it's great to have you on today.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm super excited.
Katie, if you can go into your background for our viewers, so they get a good backdrop of who you are and kind of what it is you're doing now from an advisor standpoint and helping athletes, and talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in upstate New York, and I'm in the world of volleyball. So I played volleyball. I ended up playing D3 volleyball at SUNY Brockport. But where I come from, we're actually a different season for volleyball than everyone else. We're in the winter still here. So my recruiting process was basically none at all. I had no coaches help me. Like my parents had no idea. I'm a first generation college student myself. So like they had no idea about the process of college at all, let alone college athletics. And then being in like a non-traditional season, it was really hard for anyone from my area to even be recruited for volleyball at all. So I basically did everything myself. Ended up landing at SUNY Brockport, which is a pretty good D3 school when it comes to their athletics department. They have a lot of resources. So I kind of fell into a really good spot, thankfully. Very lucky,
Right.
fell into a good spot. Um, so then I played there. And afterwards, I actually became a D3 head coach at a school here in Utica, SUNY Polytechnic. And I actually coached their men's program for a while, which was obviously a little bit of a change of pace. Uh,
Right.
and then, so I was there with the men's program for about 7 years. I did a little bit with the women's program as well. And it was just a lot of learning from the recruiting side, obviously, having gone through my process and then seeing what other kids go through when they're from, Rochester, New York, or Buffalo, or like these hot spots for volleyball specifically. I'm sure it's different for every sport where those like hotbeds are. But seeing like the difference in the process based on the resources they were given at the high school level and from their coaches and club teams, and then going through the recruiting process from the other end, from a coaching aspect, obviously was different than too, seeing the variety of resources available to the kids and what they knew and what they didn't know. And then also SUNY Poly is a very small tech school. So it's kind of like, along with the men's volleyball, it's a very niche kind of recruiting process I had to go through with a lot of kids. So then I was there for a while with them. And now I am not coaching anymore, and I am doing recruiting advising for a community of volleyball, high school volleyball girls based out of Texas. And we just help them through the recruiting process, D1 to D3, NAI, whatever whatever fits them the best. So that's what I'm mainly doing right now. And then I'm creating some content on the side for social media to help kids when they are kind of from a background like mine where I didn't have any help, just trying to provide some resources and help for them through the recruiting process.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's your own story is interesting story. You coach at the D3 level, um, and I mean, what is some of the things that you went through in from a recruiting standpoint when you were first going through it that you had to learn and figure out?
A lot of it was starting so late. Like so many kids start so late for the process. And especially if they're looking at those higher divisions now, like you have to start so early. And a lot of it comes down to they like think that they're going to go to those higher divisions. And then they have to be realistic with themselves that that's not always the case. Like there's such a small, especially in volleyball specifically, like there's such a small population of girls that end up going to those D1 schools, the Texas, the Pitt, the Nebraska. And a lot of times athletes don't realize that if you're going to social media your junior year to try to figure out recruiting, you're probably not going to one of those schools. Like those girls have been in
Yeah.
there now for, 2, 3, 4 years before they're even juniors in high school. So a lot of it is just like the lack of knowledge and the lack of like realistic, and I think a lot of that goes back to the coaches at the club level too, of like feeding the kids on, oh, if you come play for this club and your parents pay all this money for this club, you guys can, we've had kids go to Penn State or whatever it might be. And it's just like such a small percentage. I think a lot of it comes down to being realistic with talent level and size. And obviously you guys probably see that in football too. Like you can only go so far when you're just not the size. And that just comes down to like numbers. And then we talk about
Right.
talent, and then process and academics and what they want out of their college process. And it's just all of it comes back down to like they're just not educated enough on the options out there and what would be their best fit option.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the truth. Starting early in the process is a big deal. It's a lot of people look at it and don't do it because they think I'm not starting yet. I'm not a starter on my high school team. I'm not the star that this person is yet. Um, but it's a mistake because you have to be able to get your name out there early. Volleyball, it's a huge deal now. It's an absolute huge deal because of all the showcases and volleyball. Travel volleyball is like crazy.
Yeah,
Among
no, it
among the
is.
craziest sports of crazy sports, the stories I've heard on travel volleyball is up there with it. So, um, it's up there with I would say in the land of soccer and baseball. So, uh, and because of the number of showcases, where everything has to go, because it's indoors for the most part, and you're going to facilities, so everybody congregates in one place and over and over again. But talk about why you think early is better, and what does early exactly mean? Because in the football world, uh, this is a huge question for a lot of parents, and some of them think early is 10U highlights sent out to college coaches, which is of course ludicrous, but there are parents that believe that, like, and we try to tell them there's a difference between, you want to make 10U highlights for yourself. That's great. You know what I mean? Share it with your friends, whatever. 10U highlights that you send out to a college coach, um, when nobody knows how tall you are going to be, how fast you're going to be, or how big you're going to be, or how good you're going to be, is crazy. So, talk about what early means. To me, it means as you're starting to go through puberty, or you've gone through some level of puberty, that is where we could start to kind of decipher that there might be some level athletically that you might be able to be involved in. Before that, I think it's obviously crazy. I'm sure you think the same thing, but talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I went to Brockport for exercise science, so I'm very science minded behind like the growth of athletes and obviously muscle and size and everything. So I do agree with that 100%, especially on the men's side. That was one thing I saw a lot in men's volleyball versus women's volleyball is the guys when I was looking at them their junior and senior year, I'm like they're still growing. Like they
Right,
could still add another half an inch or an inch to them, whereas the females most of the time by like junior, senior year, they're pretty much, if they're not already super tall, they're probably not going to be super tall. Um,
right,
but I think early enough really means not so early, like you said, like you have to wait until we see like what size they're going to be, like what's their athleticism, what's their size, what's their coordination once they're like getting to their fully grown potential. But then also like early enough so the coaches can see their growth and their change over time and how they've improved, but not so early where it's like the coach has forgotten about them. Early
right,
enough so they can see like, okay, from sophomore to junior year, they've really gotten better at serve receive, or they've really gotten better at their approach and their power, but they're still on that list. Like coaches usually have, especially at the D3 level, they have, if it's this year, we're talking 26 recruits, 27s, 28s, 29s. And then from there, like they're not looking at anything younger than that ever.
right,
That's just not even, don't even waste your time
Right.
because that's
right,
so out of their mind. So really, I would say like somewhere between that freshman and sophomore year, so that the coach can see their growth over those couple years before they get to their senior year. But anything earlier than that, like you said, it's just kind of pointless. Again, make it for yourself for sure. But my 6-year-old starting volleyball this year, I'm not taking highlight films and sending them down to,
right.
Nebraska, but as much as I want to.
As much as I know, I was going to say, you definitely want to. You're a parent. You definitely do.
Yeah,
Come
right.
on, now, come on.
I got the email address, all right?
Listen, and that's the other thing I don't want to
Yeah,
dismiss.
yeah.
We all think the same thing, okay? So there's a difference between thinking, hey, I'd love nothing more to send my kid's tape to the Nebraska coach and find out what he thinks about it, right?
Right.
Right.
And then actually doing it, because what you know is, and you were a college coach, so you know this, you're inundated with so many other things that,
Right.
with respect to your team, with respect to immediate recruiting, that the ability to process it, other than saying, "Wow, he looks good" or "She looks good,"
Right.
that's it. Like, that's really what, like, if they're a friend of yours and you send it to them, your 10-year-old, and they'll be like, "Oh, good," But outside of that, there's nothing that can be done, and there are outliers. Look, if you're an 8th grade volleyball player and you're standing already at 6'2", okay, yeah,
Right.
obviously, and that, by the way, that happens with women a lot more. Like, I mean,
Oh yeah.
I see, my son's 10 years old. I see the 5th, 6th grade boys basketball team. They look like kids. I see the girls' 5th, 6th grade basketball team. There's a couple of girls that are 5'6" already. You know what I mean? So literally, maybe they're 11. I don't know, 10 or 11, I guess. So
Right.
I guess maybe they could be 12. I guess, but still, I mean, that's like, wow. I'm like, oh my goodness, like they had two girls that are 5'6".
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that
it
looks like
happens a lot with girls too.
team out there. So
Even some of like the higher like D1 programs, they'll find like really tall girls at dance class who have never even touched a
really
volleyball. And they're like, "Oh, they can move their feet and they're 6'5". Let's grab them and we can teach them volleyball." It's crazy.
interesting. That is interesting.
Right.
Well,
Well,
because volleyball,
look, and we do that in football.
I was going to say that.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Dave.
yeah,
No, go ahead. I was going to
no,
say
you
we do
go,
that in
you go.
football as well. We grab,
Yeah.
like I'm saying, we grab guys. I mean, look, rule 101 of when you start a new program, right? And Dave and I have done this. When we took over program, like we recruit the hallways. Like we're in, is that class, we're going to go to the cafeteria. Like, I mean, there are always outliers where they should be on the football field right now. So everybody does that, right? It's interesting to hear how volleyball, right, looks for it in, certain specific areas, because, hey, this is what it is. And I'm trying to think, I'm not sure, like volleyball up here, I think girls, we do it in the fall, and boys, we do it in the spring in Jersey. Am I correct?
Yeah.
I think I'm right with that. I'm not, because it's opposite seasons, right? But look, I mean, it's totally, but it all comes back to the same thing, right? Like every parent wants their kid to be above and beyond what everybody else thinks. And how early is too early? Who knows? Because look, we've been in this. We see it creeping lower and lower and lower and lower. And you know what I mean? And it's okay. Well, my son's on this all-star team and plays on this club team. And now he's going to be going and doing this. And this is a national this. See, football is a little different, where like the padded world of like real football, it's pretty much still seasonal, even though you see sometimes guys try to pop up with like some of these spring leagues and whatnot. But what we do see is now the evolution of flag becoming such a big thing, or 7-on-7 world that we live in. It's way bigger in the South because of weather and area, right? But that touch volleyball, because look, you're at a facility and here you go. And like Dave was saying, you're enclosed in a very small area for some of these tournaments, which just allows everything echoes and it's a lot louder. So that world is just totally different.
And they're in big,
you were saying?
you guys are in big, a lot of times conference halls, right? That's a lot of times where a lot of the like, I call it AAU. I don't know what they call it for volleyball, but like, those AAU style tournaments, they're all in these huge, it's not just gyms a lot of times, like it's like manufactured gyms in these huge, because there's so many people that come to these tournaments. I've seen it. I know people that were, friends of that were like, they had kids and daughters that did it, and it was like they would go all over. What is, so the D3 part of everything, and explain the D3 recruiting process, right? So for first part, because it's different from D1 for the most part, as you know it, because I think that's an important thing for athletes to understand. I'm assuming at D3 they can get into the process later and still get recruited at the D3 level versus the D1 level. You know, as soon as you start spiking that thing real hard, you're super tall. You know, you got to get out there. So,
Right.
talk about that. It's an important thing. I'm sure it's similar to football standpoint, but talk a lot about that part of the process.
Yeah, so like the main thing is always, it really comes down to the kid has to get into the school academically. And that's what a lot of kids fail to realize is, especially some of the schools that like up here in the Northeast, like MIT, for example. We played against MIT when I was coaching the men's. Those kids are great athletes, but they have to get into MIT with their grades. They're not getting in just because they play D3 men's volleyball. Like they're not, these schools aren't going to, and then same thing like the NESCAC. I worked at Hamilton College for a while as well. Those kids have to be
another big
they have
academic.
to go, yes. And not just academics, but everything else too. Like you have to really fit that school, those NESCACs, for several different hurdles in the admissions process before you can get in. It's not because you play D3 volleyball. Like that's not going to get you there. So it's a lot about the fit and like the right fit versus just the athletics. And it comes down to, for sure, the academics. I mean, you have to get into the school. You have to pay for the school because they're not getting athletic scholarships. So that's always a hurdle that we see with kids as well, where they think they're going to go for free because they're decent at their sport. But when you're talking D3, you're not. You're getting your merit scholarships and you're getting your academic scholarships through the school. And most of the time that can like hopefully cover you as long as you're good academically, as far as like most of it. A lot of the kids at SUNY Poly on the athletics team, they would get a lot of merit scholarship. So I had several kids coming there for free. But it was nothing to do with sports. It was obviously no athletic scholarship money. It was all academics and merit. So it's really the academics first, and then the rest of it kind of has to go with the fit for, D3 programs are so across the board as far as their size, their location. You can go to a D3 school in a big city. You can go to a D3 school in Morrisville, New York, where there's, more cows than people. And it really comes down to the overall fit first versus the athletics. Like the athletics really should be like third or fourth on the list as far as finding that fit. But the first one has to be academics. And a lot of people really don't think that that's the case. A lot of people still think that, well, you're going to D3, like you might as well play club. And I've had so many parents comment, or I guess not maybe parents, but people commenting on my stuff, like, why don't they just, like, that's so stupid to even play sports, blah, blah, blah. You cannot never go D3. You should only go somewhere where they're going to give you money for athletics. And I'd come back with, so you mean to tell me a kid who just got an engineering degree for a state cost, who actually was covered fully because of their merit scholarships, who was able to play their sport for 4 years, you're going to tell me that that's a waste of time? Like, that's crazy to me. Or the kids that are going to MIT, you're going to tell me that that's a waste of their time going to MIT and playing their sport if they can handle playing their sport for 4 years there, or Stevens Institute of Technology, like those aren't waste of time schools. So as much as you're not getting money to play the sport, your academics should really, I mean, now obviously there's some programs that the kids are just going there to play their sport and they're studying who knows what and they're barely passing, and like we've seen that. But so many D3 programs have really high academics that it makes it really worth it. And people need to like stop and realize that college is a stepping stone to the future. That's not the future. That's not your end point. So if you're picking a school because you think that's where it's at, when you're not thinking of what's the goal, where are you trying to get with this degree, then that's gonna probably not benefit you, especially when it's the sports like, football is obviously a big sport, but how many football players from college really make it to the NFL? Like
100%.
it's not like
it's a no. Right.
So
and we look at this all the time too. Right.
Yeah.
So and look, obviously there's roster limits. There's all these things, right? Especially Division III football, right? Look, I was an FCS player at Sacred Heart, transferred to Division III Montclair State, right? Like very different worlds, okay? But I will tell you right now, like I played with better people, and Dave Serby said this, better people Division III than I did at an FCS school. And that's just kind of how it works, right? And a lot of it, if you look at, especially here in the Northeast, where Division III programs are the bulk of what schools are made of, right? Like, using a sport to get into those academic universities, right? Because, okay, you play sport, like those numbers are gonna, there's kind of a pulley system with it, right? Like, hey, this guy's good at football, so you know what? His GPA is this, but look, we can help him to get into school. I think the degree is something, it's almost become like, that's just like, oh yeah, well, yeah, the degree, it's kind of thrown to the side now, when that was like the purpose of it all, right? Because majority of these kids think they're just going to go be a content creator, post videos on whatever, and make a lot of money, and we're good to go. Those degrees, those networks that are formed by going to those Division III universities, and look, Montclair State is sure as hell not Wesleyan University or Hamilton or any of those, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that, but there's not one job that I've ever been, a job interview or something, where the network formed by being at that Division III and having played sports there hasn't helped me in that process, whether it was the degree itself or whether that network, that's just what's created. I think there's more of a personal one-on-one level, I think, when it comes to Division III, because, every athlete really does like matter. You're just not like a number, because most times it's a smaller knit type of community at that level. And I think that's what separates it, right? I think kids and parents and every, all the club coaches and stuff, when they're in people's ear, like, they look at Division III like it's the last level of, oh, well, it's the bottom because there's a 3 next to it and there's so many above it. The way we see recruiting going now, right, is, hey, go to that school for 2 years, play your best ball, get really good grades, and now you can transfer up to a bigger school. And coaches are embracing that. Some are still old school and they don't, but a lot of guys that we've talked embrace that, and they'll take that. So now you're leaving with 2 years of college credits. You're accustomed to going to college. You're more mature. You understand it. Your body's changed. Now you can go to that university that you feel shorted you because you didn't get a scholarship. I think that's kind of a process that's different now. The question I have for you is, a lot of parents, like you said, they don't understand that there's no academic scholarships in Division III, but that merit money that you can get, the higher your GPA, the better your grades, the more merit money you get. So it's basically like you get rewarded for doing what you're doing. And then the academic part of it, or the athletic part of it, is like a bonus. Like now you get to go play sports because you did really good in school. And you may get to go to a university that without that sport, you wouldn't have gotten into. Do you find that parents kind of like, is that like one of the biggest things that they just don't understand, that it says merit, like, there's no athletic scholarship, but so they think like there's no money. Is that kind of like how they think? Yeah. So they think there's like no scholar, but it's like, hey, you have a 3.7, in your core courses. That's the other thing too, Katie. I would, if you could touch on that a little bit, the difference between like a cumulative GPA and like your GPA in core courses. Like, explain that, because parents don't really understand that at all. They just look at a GPA and they're like, oh, that's great. And it's like, hey, he's taking Harry Potter, like that, and he's got an A in it. Like, and look, I personally, I've had to deal with this, right? I've had to sit down with guidance counselors and say, look, this kid's tracking like he's going to be a college football player. We need to make sure that his class schedule is academic aided, right? Like these elect or choice classes that he gets to take, like, we're not taking foods, we're not, like, look, art, like all the, like, let's put them in more of an academic what's the word, track, I guess you want to say, right? So we've had those conversations. Could you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, that was something we had a lot with SUNY Poly, specifically on the engineering side of things. Some kids would say, okay, they're a basketball recruit or whatever it might be, and they want to do mechanical engineering. And then we look at their transcripts with admissions and they haven't taken a physics, they haven't taken calculus. And it's like, you have to take those to even get into this school for that degree in general. Like, you have to have those in high school before you come in and take college of that. And same thing with like nursing majors, is the big one. D3 women's side nursing is like such a big thing, because you can barely, I don't want to say you can't. You can barely do nursing and sports, let alone a higher level sport and nursing. Like there was one girl in a D1 school. She was like really good. And she was one of their stars on the Creighton team. And she was a nursing major. And they said so many times in the broadcast on national TV, like, oh my gosh, she's a nursing major, like all this stuff. And I'm like, do you know how many D3 athletes are nursing majors? And like, that was amazing that she was able to be a D1 athlete and nursing major, because it's just like barely even possible. And that was another one though. We get girls and they're like, we want to do nursing. And it's like, you're taking like these random bozo classes in high school. You're barely passing them. You need to be taking chemistry.
That's the
you need
part
to have
too.
some type of, like you need to have those classes. And sometimes people just think that you can get in because, oh, you have a 3-4, but it's in all these classes. But then they don't realize that at most schools, you still, if you're going for a certain degree, you need those core classes. And those make a really big difference. And we could get kids more merit money if we said like, okay, their overall GPA is a 3.6 or whatever it is. And yeah, they didn't do too hot in like English because they're a science and a tech kid. They want to go for engineering. So yeah, they're like, it's not in their English class reading Romeo and Juliet, they probably sucked at because they're like a math and science based kid. But look, in college physics or AP physics, they got a 5 on their test. So then we'd be able to bump them up a little bit more merit if we looked at like that type of thing. And they, obviously be into the engineering program better with a 5 on their AP physics than a 5 on their AP English test. So that's a big part of it, honestly. The academics is so important.
Yeah, I think that the D3 component with the academic side, and depends on which school you go to at the D3 level. There's super high academic schools. There's schools that are state schools. That you have a variety of different type of schools. What have you found is the parents' reaction when you discuss D3 with them, and what are they like? They tell you about their recruiting process. They start talking about it. They say Nebraska, and you ask them, have you talked to anybody has anyone from Nebraska ever called you? No. Have they invited you to come on camp? No. That's where I want to go. And then you present to them where they really lie at the Division III level or some level below, obviously Division I. What is the reaction of parents, and how do you handle that reaction? And I'm curious also on the athlete side, because one of the things that is athletes might be a little bit more, they might handle it better, actually, I think, in my opinion, because especially if they want to play, they really want. But what is the reaction from parents and foremost from that standpoint?
So there's like always 2 reactions. One is either like more like with the athletes too, like they're just happy to play summer. They just want to find their fit. They want to find where they're going to be successful. And a lot of times parents are the same way. They want to find, if we're talking D3 and all of a sudden Babson comes into the conversation, that's a different conversation than we're talking D3 and we're talking like, I don't even know, like a lower state school where they're not going to be there for academics. Yeah. So, but then there is always the reaction of, we want them to get money for this. We want all of our money that we put into club and travel volleyball to pay off somehow in a scholarship. And like, they think that just because they've paid $5,000-$6,000 a season for club volleyball, that they should be getting $36,000 in athletic scholarships because they've put in that much. And that's like, that's where like the youth sports kind of like starts to like just get crazy to me, because they think that because they've invested in that, and they think because the one girl 3 years ago got a full ride to Iowa State, they think that they put the same amount of money in, so their kid should be getting a full ride to some type of D1 program. And that's just not the case. And I think that that's where, like, especially with the club volleyball, like, it's become very honestly toxic, in my opinion, with promises being given that if you pay for this great club team, or you travel an hour and a half for practice every night for your daughter to come here, she's going to go D1. And she's going to go D1 for free. And that's not
where we get into big trouble with our 7-on-7 club, because we never promised anything. And actually an insane amount of kids have gone on to college from our program, and a lot have gone at the highest level. But like all these places that promise everything, they just say, hey, because they're trying to make super teams, you know what I'm saying? So they go win some tournament. Meanwhile, we win 1 million tournaments anyway, and we never promise anything. But like they go and they do that, and the parents get all caught up in it, and they go they fork over $2,000 to go to Atlanta for a 7-on-7 tournament. And like my kid's going to get recruited because he went to a tournament with 150 teams where no coaches are at, and they threw the ball around, And so I hear this all the time too, with like, especially you probably see this coming from New York. You want to go down south? You want to go compete down south? That's fine.
Okay.
The South is a different animal from an athletic standpoint, as far as how they're able to do things 24/7, the type of commitment they're able to have because of the weather advantages, even in volleyball, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. You can play, if you're in Florida, you can play beach volleyball year round, right? So, and so I think that those things, so they think I'm going to show up in a tournament in Atlanta and I'm going to prove to everyone that I'm as good as those guys. And they play some team from East, West, South Atlanta that they beat, some club team that was like the 15th level club team. And they're like, my kids, should go to Georgia. And so that's like a complete misnomer. And we see this in basketball, obviously, all the time. Because football pairs to basketball, and this is 9 million teams. You grab 5 guys and put a team together. So, it's a strange environment. So that's how club guys get people to pay a lot of money to go to these things. And you know what? Do they go to those things? Like I say, hey, you know what? If the guy charges $1 billion and he does take you all these things and you enjoy that or that, perfectly fine. You want to go in baseball and go to a perfect game and go down to all their tournaments for that, perfectly fine. And if you know what, you really end up being a standout and you get recruited at the highest level because of that, and you're the one in a million, fine. But you're not going there because you're going to go and get found. You're going there because maybe you want to compete with guys from the South, or you want to go to the perfect game, and you want to go to that experience. And I had a parent a guy that lives in my neighborhood, played baseball at Rutgers, was outstanding pitcher at Rutgers, and he took his team down to Cal Ripken for the Cal Ripken experience. And listen, he said, experience, we had such a great time. That's the right thought process. That's 100% the right thought process. That was like, hey, we brought our team down there because we wanted them to feel what it's like to play in a pro-like stadium for the experience. Absolutely. Kids love that. They absolutely love it. And if you do it for that reason, they compete, they have a great time, they enjoy it. There's no doubt it's for the right reason. So I'm all good with that. It's like what you said. They get promised that they're going to get a scholarship from it. The truth of the matter is, this is how I look at it. I look at every dollar you spend, and you're getting is your 6-year-old your oldest, or
she is my oldest.
Okay, so what I look at it as it's all a sunk cost, like in business.
Yeah.
It's a sunk cost. Okay, it is every dollar I spend. I do not expect that ever coming back. I have spent.
But some parents think it's an insurance policy.
Right.
They think like, well, I'm putting $1,000 in now. I'm going to get $3,000 in 5 years, and it's just not that way.
It's not an insurance policy. It literally is
not
a sunk cost. It is something that you spent, and you should have zero expectation return. And I guess it is an investment in their improvement. Right. So that I would agree with. Don't worry, I have a dog, and he's laying right next to me. So, but he's behaving right now because he ate the paper off of the sandwich I had this morning, and he's happy. So but it is. I will say this: it is an investment in their development. You know what I mean? So it is. And if you look at it like, hey, that money's not coming back. It's an investment in their development, and so they could be the best player, whatever they're going to be. Like, same thing if you go into those tournaments, right? You get a great experience. It's an investment in them being the best player. If you could afford to do that, awesome.
Right.
I don't think you should mortgage your house to do it, right? If you're not in that financial situation, you can go in the backyard, and I could put you through 1 million drills that can get you just as good. If you have the money to do whatever you want, you should. That's okay. It really depends on your own situation. But I would say, like, if you fall on hard times, you grab a volleyball, and you go in your backyard and you start hitting. And you could do that. And you could get some cones. They cost like 50 cents. And you could put some cones and start, So those are the things that you could do that will get you, honestly, just as good as
an opportunity.
Right. It'll give you the same opportunity. You don't need all those things. You could literally do it. It's a nice to have. It is a nice to have. Now, so I want you to answer that question. What do you say to them when they're like, I spent all this money and I should get something back from this?
Well, it's also crazy too, because especially in like the girls volleyball world, they're like, oh, we got the matching bag. We got the matching shoes. We got the active ankles. And I'm like, coaches don't even pay attention. Yeah, like I'm like, are you an all-star cheerleader? Like, I don't care if you have the hair bow that matches your uniform. Like, that literally means nothing to me. And they just think that,
and with football, Katie, they add in the statistic part too, right? So they say, oh, my kid scored 10 touchdowns and he was the starter in the little in-town league, right? And now all of a sudden they pay for this travel league. They go down south, their kid plays 2 plays, and now what is going on? And I'm sure it's across the board when it comes to that, the investment in all of those things, it's part of it. This is like, and now they can sit in the bleachers and they can tell, this mom, well, we did this, right? Or we were on this team. And look, that's why I'm wearing this hoodie and not that hoodie. But go ahead, continue, Katie. I don't mean to cut you off. With football, it's statistics that adds to it as much as going and playing in the other tournaments and doing all of those types of things too. That's what parents.
Yeah, and that kind of brings up a good point too. Is like every kid coming out of high school who wants to play their sport at the next level, they're a big fish in probably a pretty little pond. Like honestly, when you go down to high school versus college. And that's what I mean. I don't know what the percent is. It's like 7 or 6% now of kids who play high school end up actually playing at college at any level. And so parents always think that, well, my kid's the best on their team. They're the best on their team. And I'm like, do you know how many best there are and how many teams are better than your team? Like, it's crazy to even think, especially when we're talking like Texas volleyball, Midwest volleyball, like those girls compared to Northeast volleyball, it's a different ball game. Like coaches will take the worst kid on a Texas team over the best kid on a Northeast team.
There you go.
Almost every day. It's just different. It's just completely different where like you're such a big fish in a little pond. And then to try to tell them like, just because you've done all this, you're still not at the level that college coaches are looking at whenever they're looking at the whole country. And then we got, especially in volleyball, like international kids coming in now. Right. Crazy. I mean, some of these other countries, they start playing when they're so young and they play all the time. And that's their form of recreation. It's like soccer used to be like a big one back in the day. Like kids from other countries play soccer like crazy. Now it's like volleyball. Like the volleyball in Italy and Germany is like crazy compared to here. So then D1 teams, you're competing against these international kids that have been playing recreational volleyball every single day of their lives. That's what they do for fun. So it's just crazy to like try to have that conversation with some parents. Some parents are just really adamant on their kid going D1, no matter what it is. They want the title, they want the bragging rights, they want to feel like their money has gone to something, and that means D1, whether it's D1 who God knows where, doing who knows what for a degree, or D1 at a really big school. They just want that like satisfaction of knowing their kid went D1. And then they're like not even
cocktail party. They want to go to the cocktail party on Friday and just be like, yeah. So I was at XYZ school last week, Division I school last week, watching my kid play volleyball. Meanwhile, he was on the bench, sitting there on the bench the whole time. But for some parents, that's what they want. And for some kids, there are kids that don't mind that. That's okay too. So that's the big thing. It's like, it's where your expectations are. What do you expect out of it? I don't know why I look like George Washington today for some reason. So I got to get a haircut. because now I'm starting to look like George Washington, Derek. I'm looking at myself on here. I'm going to get yelled at by my wife. I look like George Washington.
No, the curls are good. The curls are good.
Yeah. I don't know, on screen to me, it looks like I might as well be George Washington. That's what it looks like to me. So it's hard when you got to look at yourself and you're like, wow, okay, this is I got to keep looking at it over and over again.
According to one of your AI videos, you've already met him.
That's correct. Yes, and I walked Lincoln down to his four-score. Yeah,
I saw that.
Gettysburg Address. Yes, yes.
Yes, you did.
So it's interesting. Now I want to kind of like dive into a little bit of when you actually then begin to put their names out there, or you help with that recruiting, like you start reaching out to schools, and what is the best process for doing that? Like, what is the best process for reaching out to schools? And I think in each sport it's different, because football's like huge with Twitter, but like,
oh yeah,
I know other sports might be different. Like football's become basically Twitter, and maybe emailing went away for a long time, but then it's like kind of coming back because there's not that many ways to actually get a hold of a coach. So, it's crazy, but like everything comes full circle. And I remember in the old days, actually, I used to send emails and coaches used to respond, but that's a long time ago. But yeah, so how do you advise them going? What's the best way for them to reach out, connect with coaches, and either meet them or get a discussion with them?
Yeah, so we go like two routes usually. For volleyball, it is still very much email based, honestly. It's very much emailing your name, your GPA, your intended major, your size, just your height, obviously, and then a highlight reel of volleyball plays. I mean, volleyball is a little bit less like, you can really focus on one person a little bit more, because at the end of the day, like their pass is their pass. It doesn't matter what, I feel like volleyball is a little bit less like play based than other sports. So the highlight film really gets seen a little bit quicker. It's a little less like reading into the rest of what happened on the field or the court or whatever. So sending email highlights is a big one. And then obviously the social media has become a really big component of recruiting. So we just try to make sure, some kids are really good at social media and they understand how to use social media to their benefit, whether it's posting their highlight reels. And then other kids are really terrible at social media, where they're just reposting memes that like aren't really appropriate for kids to be posting or something. So we just really go.
And that could work in the opposite way, right? That could work the opposite way and get you unrecruited or not recruited. Look, I've had to see high school guys, sophomores, juniors, and mom is still running their accounts. Mom is filling out recruiting questionnaires, not him. Like, buddy, you're going to have to take this bull by the horns. And if you say you want to play at that level or you want to get recruited, you have to go be a self-advocate. And I think that's changed with the social media aspect, irregardless of sport. Look, I coach girls flag football. Like, it is booming. These girls, they're so good at it. Like they across the board, like it's almost like they take their social media very, very seriously. Like they don't post this, they don't post that. They don't, even the music, if it's accompanied by something, it's clean, it's smart, it doesn't paint them in a different or negative limelight, where you have some that are just throwing whatever out there and it's very scary. Like that's and for football, like it's really kind of gone in that road where the social media aspect is a huge piece of that puzzle.
Yeah, it's huge. And I don't think kids fully understand that if you're on social media with your name attached to anything, coaches will find that. Like you can very easily find any social media, whether it's your reposts, your likes, your comments, whatever it is. And so we usually really go through their social media and clean up anything that might be taken in any type of way, and just really tell them, like, if you're really serious about this, you are going to be representing your school in a certain way. Coaches are not going to mess with somebody who's representing them in a negative light at all. There's just way too much out there right now as far as, what's being shown online and what these kids are doing. And it's just, they're not going to even touch it with a 10-foot pole. If you have anything that's questionable on there, there's somebody better who's got cleaner social media and more professional, and they're going to go right to them. So we really tell them to keep it really clean. use it to your advantage, because coaches do watch it and coaches see stuff. And, you know, if you come across their social media, then they're like, oh, she emailed us a few weeks ago. Like, it's going to help, but you can also hurt yourself way faster with social media than you can help yourself, for sure. At least in the volleyball world. I know some sports, like you guys were saying, football's a lot on X. It's called X nowadays, Twitter.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Twitter. You're right.
Yeah.
It literally might be the direct way, the fastest way to get yourself noticed or get in contact with a coach in the last I would probably the last 2 years has made that move to where X is like the thing, because you can DM, and just the overall recruiting process allowed for X messages or DMs or whatever it is. Like, you couldn't send a text message, but you could send a DM. Like, there's just so much of that type of thing. Now with Division II in football moving away from, it's just like D3. You can recruit anytime. There's no like specific windows like it is Division I or FCS. Like, it's literally the way to get in contact with it. Now, whether that college coach takes it to that level, right? Like, especially in the world where you don't have recruiting like specific, like your staffs just aren't put together like that. And I'm not, you could kind of clue us in on that, like volleyball wise, staff wise, like at the highest levels at Division III, like I can't assume that you have that many staffers to have somebody literally sit there and go through the social media to deal with your messages. Like, that's the head coach as well. Like,
and that's what a lot of kids get panicked, because they're like, oh, I sent something to a coach and it was 4 days ago. And I'm like, yeah, give her time. Like, they have families, they have so many recruits in their inboxes all the time. They're trying to manage like their own social media pages for their team. They're trying to manage their team, like in postseason, whatever it might be. But the other thing too is, like, coaches are really, especially in the volleyball world, they are trying to get where the kids are, and the kids are on these social medias. So I went to a conference a couple years ago, well, more than a couple years ago now, probably 6 or 7 years ago. And one of the women's lacrosse coaches who was there was talking about, he went to Orlando to like the big lacrosse showcases down there. And he actually paid Snapchat to make the first filter that girls would swipe across when they took a picture to be his logo. It was like, I can't remember what the school was called, something Pacific, something or other. And when they swiped across, when they took a Snapchat and they would swipe that school logo, like Pacific, whatever it was, lacrosse would be the very first thing. And he got so many girls interested in his program because at that showcase, when they did their Snapchats, they would swipe it and they'd say, oh, like, what is this school? They had like it was like a swordfish was like their mascot or something. And it was like splashing across the page. And I was like, oh, that's like pretty interesting, because you really just like tapped into like a lacrosse girl's like niche is like sending her Snapchats to her friends, obviously, when she's somewhere cool. And so coaches are really trying to be where the kids are, and that can obviously pay off, but then it can also hurt you just as quick, because if they're there, then you need to be aware of what you're doing there.
It's a great point. The
absolutely
in volleyball too, I wonder, because Derek brought up football like stats. I wonder if that's something that you have to coach athletes away from too, because volleyball is heavy stats, right? Kills and what is it? Digs, I guess. When they get digs. Forgive my and then obviously serve, right? The people who serve really well, who are exceptional from that standpoint. Forgive my lack of volleyball knowledge. Mine extends to winning a couple of games in gym class many years ago. So, and maybe playing get a little bit in the college quad. But it's I think it's heavy stats based, right? And then heavy stats based and heavy vertical jump based, right? So height, reach, vertical jump. So. And it's like the running vertical jump, right? Where they come up and how high.
Yeah, it's usually like their approach jump is what we call it. Yeah.
Approach jump. Thank you for correcting me. Good. It's excuse my ignorance.
We're gonna be good now. We're gonna be volleyball, like, look, hey, just another option for my daughter, right? Like, look, I know she's gonna be 5'8" and will not be able to jump, but maybe she'll be able to. I don't know, something. Volleyball works for me. I'll take that.
Pass. Those DSs get a lot of money now.
Right. So that was where I was going with it, because there's one or two girls on every team that you see is significantly shorter than everybody else. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you deal with this.
Yeah.
Everybody who is a shorter volleyball player, not that they're short, actually, I would say normal size as far as like from a regular person standpoint, but obviously for volleyball short, right? So yeah, they might be 5'6", you know, but they're so but everybody thinks that their kid is that realm,
It's the
right?
world I'll be in.
Right. They don't want to be, they want to be the one or two people in that realm. Obviously most people probably see the girls who are over 6 feet that can really jump and do, you know, can do the kills. And obviously the girls are even much taller than that or have a huge advantage. Is that a process that you have to manage more with? I bet you that's the majority of the people that you deal with. It's much like in football. We're constantly dealing with, you know, we would deal with the 5'10" linebacker. You know what I mean? That really good leading tackler for 4 years, 400 tackles, maybe the best player in his conference, maybe better than the Division I player in high school, right? But at the next level is not going to be recruited the same way as another guy. How do you coach them on the fact that, like, this is what statistics mean, because they always do get confused by that. And this is where the value is, because parents say, well, if my kid's stats don't matter, then what are we doing here?
Yeah, a lot of that, too, like it is very stat heavy for sure. And a lot of that, you know, it can be, for one thing, a lot of times the stats, coaches just don't look at stats as much as they look at movement, which is what it comes down to. They do not look at stats as much. You can say you have 40 digs a game, but the person taking the stats is a random high school boy who didn't even realize that serve receive isn't technically a dig. So every time you touch the ball, he's marking it down as a dig, which, like, that happens actually so much more than I would like to admit. So they just, that's why, like, the highlight film is way more important than stats, right?
That's so funny.
That's so good.
That's so fun. Like,
It happens
look,
all the time.
I know in high school, the that girl happened to be a friend of mine, and I'm pretty sure I got 2 or 3 more tackles a game because I knew who Erin was. Like, and we were friends.
Yeah.
And maybe
Or they
one day
don't
I
see
gave
it
her a
and they're
hand
like,
warmer.
oh.
So you know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Or they don't see it and they're like,
No,
oh, it
must
was
have
number
been-
7
listen.
again. And like, it wasn't number 7. But
Right.
they just like put it down.
it's actually funny you bring that up. We used to, we would always tell guys, like, you know, be the last one off the pile and you'll get a half a tackle. Like, if the announcer said your name, you're going to get half a tackle. Like,
Right.
so it was like, just be on the pile because your name's going to be, it's fun things like that. That's so funny.
Yeah, and I couldn't even tell you, like, one of my best recruits,
you gave the guy a
couldn't even
t-shirt, so
tell
now
you.
they're handling all the statistics.
Yeah, and like, you never know. And I couldn't tell you what like some of the stats were for some of my best recruits. And like, one of our best players at the school that I coached at for a long time was a setter on the men's side. And he didn't play on a very good, he's from Massachusetts. He didn't play on a very great high school team. And like, his stats weren't great, but he was an amazing mover. Like, he was so good. He was the right size. Everything about like his film was right. I didn't care if he had 3 assists a set or 10 assists a set. That did not matter because the kids hitting off of him were probably not great. And so, and everyone thinks that they're going to be like that exception to the rule when it comes to like, my stats are so good, but they're really looking at your movement and your size and everything else, the whole picture, way more than they're looking at your stats. Like, I could not care less about stats, especially coming out of high school, because they can just be all over the place. You could be playing the worst team in the, I mean, one time in my high school, I served all 25 points. That didn't mean I was a great server. The team I was playing against couldn't even pass the ball. So it's just like, especially when you're coming out of high schools, like high schools just range so much in talent. You can play the town across from you who's absolutely terrible, and their volleyball team is made up of a bunch of soccer kids who just have nothing else to do. So the stats just aren't important. We really look at movement before we look at anything else, because if you can move, I mean, there's been girls D1 that recruited and they were playing in a barn in high school, and like, not a good one either. There's some like good barns that girls play in, you know, with high ceiling. They're playing in a crappy barn, but they move so well that you can see the potential in their growth once you have them under your coaching for 4 years. Like, you can see the difference versus someone who's great stats in high school who actually moves like crap. They're not even that good. They're not powerful. They're not fast. They're not explosive. So it really comes down to like the the movement, and then like you were talking about the approach jump and everything, depending on the position, obviously. It can be approach jump, it can be the footwork for the setters, because that's always like the most important thing when it comes to setting is your footwork and your location of the ball. And obviously there's like different, things you look at for every position, different metrics for every spot on the court. And it really comes down to that more than like the overall stats.
Right.
Even though volleyball is so stat heavy, that can vary so much. It really doesn't mean anything.
There's no doubt about it. And I think the biggest point you brought up is movement, which applies to obviously almost every sport. Other than I would say like volleyball is a lot like football in that the skill is important. But there's certain that skill can be taught to a really good athlete if they all of a sudden are investing a lot more time in that area. And
wasn't it Jordan Mailata from the Eagles?
Yeah.
He was like a rugby player, and he said he like sat in a classroom. I listened to him like talk about this. He sat in a classroom like learning football for like days on end because he actually had no idea what he was doing. But he moved well, so they like stole him from like he was like the international player or whatever, and they like kept him, and now he's like one of the best.
He was the best rugby player, a great rugby player. I think that's the guy you're talking about. Yeah.
Katie, I had a kid this year.
Punting, soccer.
I've told Dave, look. Rugby, yeah, I mean, even
like, rules punt kickers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Derek. Go ahead.
I like we've talked about this year, Dave. Like I had a kid this year, junior in high school, never played football before in his life. Really good basketball player, hands like monstrous. He comes out for the team, like it's unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like he's like, coach, I love football. This is amazing, right? Like he's become, and it's just. Guys have niches, like, you know what I mean? Those niche things that they can do, and all of those other things, like it's you find diamonds in the rough. And if you now can look, we can teach the sport to anyone,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in terms of the X's and O's of it, or the intricacies of it.
Yeah, I think it comes back to like the youth sports, like youth parents are thinking,
and we see a lot of youth coaches.
And they like specialize their kids so early, and it's like make them just be good athletes first before you make them really good at their sport, because guaranteed a good athlete is going to be way better in the college recruiting process for any sport than just someone who's specifically like good at one thing.
No doubt. And
one of the first things that college coaches ask is what other sports do they play? Right? Like if you have a one trick.
Well, this is the other thing that is a very difficult thing for parents. I think they're cut out there for a second, but there's a difficult thing. You're back. I'm sorry. Your thing jumped a little bit. Sorry. So this is one of the things with parents and youth sports. I honestly, Derek, I think StreamYard, the fact that it's like doing all this stuff is starting to make things a little choppy. I don't know why, but you would probably agree with that because you just
look at the last three. Well, the last three pods we've done have cut me out. Like as soon as the intro ends, like I get and I have to come back. I don't know what StreamYard's doing. I don't know what. Like yesterday, it was Twitter's issue. It's some monster. It's above our pay grade. I don't know what's going on. Like just continue.
So in youth, here's what's difficult at the youth level. A lot of coaches at the youth level. They're volunteers for the most part, even with the team level stuff. And I think it's important that they try to balance where kids are now versus kids who have potential to be somewhere else in the future, and balance from a coaching standpoint as best they can, because what ends up happening is a lot of kids get moved out of sports that they might be really good at because some kid is really more skilled at a point, and then down the line is not going to be skilled, is going to reach a cap, right? Now there's a place for everybody, no doubt about it. But it's important. It's very hard, and we talk about this a lot. Like there's less coaches coaching other coaches, like to help guys balance those kind of things, like development versus what and that whole part of it. But it's something that creeps really into recruiting, because this happens a lot. I was the best 7th grade player. I was the best player from the time I was 6 till 12. And I see this a lot. I remember as a kid myself, there was people that were way ahead of me. You know what I mean? I was always a good athlete, but they were way ahead of me when we were younger. Like they were more developed.
Yeah.
And, and then puberty hit, and I was a different human being from the person I was at, skinny kid. And all of a sudden I was a different person. But it was, and that some of those guys and I have good friends at 7th grade, they were 5'6", and at 51, they're 5'6". So
yeah,
they've been 5'6" for very, very long time. And I remember people were talking about this one person. They said this guy he's going to be whatever he wants to be. You know what I mean? Like he would hit home runs, he would pitch the ball, like, and you were like, oh my God, I got to go up against this guy. Like he's firing the ball 65 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, but he still was showing 70 miles an hour, 4 years later, not because he did anything wrong. It's just that he was already physically mature. And I do feel for those athletes a little bit, not when they're younger, obviously, but as they get older, I do feel for them because it is tough for those athletes, right?
Right. And sometimes on the female side, it's the different way, though. Sometimes on the female side, they're really great when they're younger. And then once their bodies change, sometimes it just happens where now their vertical jump isn't what it used to be. They're not as fast as they used to be because their bodies have just changed to now a more adult looking body. And that comes with body composition changes. It comes with, a lot of other factors where they don't have the same jump or they don't have the same build they used to have when they were in 8th grade. And so a lot of times that happens the opposite way
100%.
with females where they're the best in 8th grade, but then come 12th grade, like now they're not the best because the 8th graders are the best because their body
running a lot. I've seen that in running a lot with girls where they were outstanding 9th grade runners, like division, they run these Division I times, they cap out, they still go to Division I school, and you go look up what they're running, and they're actually running slower than they ran as a 15-year-old. Just obviously their bodies filled out, and it changed the ability for them to move in a certain way. Boys, I would say with women it becomes the management of obviously their grown-up bodies, whereas where boys, when they become men, it's how big do they get, where their cap is, where their strength cap kind of is, what their limb length is, you know what I mean? Those kind of things, and how relative to their height. Because I could tell you, I played ball with a 5'7" wide receiver, and I'm not kidding. His arms were so long. He had the arms of like a 6'2" person and the hands of a 6'5" guy. And this guy had like 1,100 yards receiving and like 40 catch. He was unstoppable at the FCS level. But we were his only offer because he had to go to JUCO. He had to go to. I played at UConn. He had to go to JUCO. He was an All-American in JUCO. Like he was as good as it came at every level he was. But because he was undersized, he couldn't get like the big time offers. Now they use those guys more in the slot. But back when I went to school, literally they just use those guys to stretch the field. That's what they were. And shorter guys stretching the field wasn't as much of a thing. But he came down to us out of JUCO, and he was just out of this world. I mean, out of this world. Like, he probably like, what are you? Hands. So but he was an example of like it's not just height, like his limb length and his explosiveness. The dude was so explosive that like they would have to like rehab his hips and his groin all the time because his change of direction was just insane. And he was because of his frame, he was too strong for like his ligaments. He always would have to be in the rehab in it. But he was just he was unbelievably explosive. I must have had like I don't know what his vert was, but like could dunk. Yeah, he's 5'7", could dunk, like literally could dunk. It was craziness. So, but there are athletes like that, and that's where like height can, when you have what you said, the movement and explosiveness, it's all like a kind of it's on a string. Like if you're this height, you need to have this level of explosiveness to have an opportunity, right? If
Right.
you're super big and tall, you maybe you don't have, like, if you're a 6'5" volleyball player, maybe your vert doesn't have to be 30 inches, right? Because your reach is so high, you're still getting up there. Whereas a 6-foot volleyball player needs to have a much much higher vert in order to be successful at the next level. Do you
And with that, like, comes
yeah.
knowing what you have to show the coaches. So if you're already 6'8", you don't really have to show the coaches you're like vertical. Like they don't really care that much. Like you don't really need that much of one. You need a little hop, you know. But if you're 6 foot and you want to be a hitter, you have to show them that you can do that. So that's where like a lot of it comes into like knowing what the coaches want to see out of you to like based on the different levels. You know, even if you're D3, if you're sorry, my gosh, this cat's crazy. If you're 6 foot at D3, like they're going to already have a star on you because that's pretty tall for D3. Whereas if you're 6 foot D1, you better be showing them that you can jump and swing around a block and you can see the court better so that you can put in smarter shots and stuff. So it goes down to, like you said, like it's all kind of on like what's like a spectrum kind of thing. And you have to know what strings you have to pull to get them to notice you and think that you could be an asset to their team.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. And that's the important thing. It's everything is relative. You know, you look at Luka Doncic as a point guard and you say, this guy should not be a point guard. Right. And then he's just better than everybody else, right? Like he literally he looks like he just drank 15 beers, but he could shake everybody. He's actually amazingly quick and actually can jump out the gym, which is people are like, can't believe it, but the guy can jump out the gym, you know? Right. So there are people that have levels of explosive. That's where measurables are important and showcasing your skills. And he's one of my favorite examples because when you see, like, you look at when LeBron walks into the gym, you know, like LeBron walks into the gym, you just ask him what sport does he want to be a pro in. You don't even need to have to be LeBron. What would you like to be a pro athlete in? At 6'9", 250 pounds, 60 pounds, could jump and run and all that stuff, right? What sport? Well, Luka Doncic comes in, he's tall and all that, but you have to see him move and see and you watch him move and do things, and you're like, okay, this guy is really an unbelievable athlete, and that's part of the recruiting process. My last question is on transfers from the college level and what your advice from that standpoint. I don't know much about the volleyball world. My guess is it's highly. I have a friend that had daughters that were volleyball players, and I just from their Instagram page, they moved schools all the time. And they were starters at every place they went. I don't know why they were always moving schools, but they were moving schools. So, and maybe it was better opportunity, maybe it was money. I don't know. But, but they were Division I. They're all Division I. Yeah. But so it was. So what is the what is transfer process like? What is your advice from that standpoint with athletes that come to you?
Yeah, so I mean that's like becoming a real wild world in the volleyball, like, and even in the past probably like 4 years, it's become really crazy with it. You know, there's one girl who was one of the best in the country, and she was at like a subpar team. They were good, they were in the top 25, not anything to like be crazy about. And her setter got hurt. She ended up transferring to the reigning national champion team. Now her setter ended up leaving. So it's like, and there was a lot of money there. There was like a ton of NIL stuff involved, a bunch of money. It's just really crazy when it comes to the reasons kids are transferring, because it can range from everything. It can be, you know, the coaching fit. It can be the rest of the girls in the team. Believe it or not, volleyball girls can be a little difficult to mesh with for sure. You know, it's definitely a different world than the men's side of it for sure. I honestly led coaching the men's side a little bit more for this aspect, was that they were there for the game, whereas a lot of times the girls are there for connections. Like they want to be felt like they really fit into the team and the coaching. And a lot of them are used to being the favorites. And so whenever that's not the case, it's very easy to transfer to the next school that's going to promise you'll be our favorite, you'll be our starter, you'll be our 6th rotation player. So it's very, I mean, there's so much money involved in it now, especially with the pro leagues in the United States just starting up and expanding. I don't know if you guys are aware of like the pro leagues now that are happening here. like probably just in the past maybe 5 years, I want to say. There's 2 pro leagues right now, one like meshed into another one. Some schools, some D1 programs only take kids who want to go and play pro. So they attract a lot of transfers because they're kids who want to play in these pro leagues. Some are more worried about their development over 4 years. I mean, some coaches you can just see on their roster, they recruited all from the transfer portal. They didn't recruit a single freshman. They're taking them all out of the portal these last couple of years.
I believe it.
And so that's like it's just a different landscape. It's not
We
like,
see it.
transferring before was like a big deal. It wasn't like an option like it is now, where it's just so easily attainable to just transfer to the next program. And transfer where it looks hot, transfer where it looks like I'm going to have the next best thing. And it just wasn't like that back in the day. So now it's just becoming part of it. It's another dynamic. And if the coaches are diving into the transfer portal and you're a freshman or a sophomore who hasn't seen time, and they're diving into the portal and taking the best kid out of the ACC in your position, chances are you're not going to see time for the next 2 years either. So then those kids are transferring. So it's just become very crazy. I mean, it's just, there's so many. And I actually follow like a Volley Talk. It's like a forum, like a thread where people can go in. And I can't wait for the transfer portal to open on the 7th, because it's going to be spilling all types of tea out there on why girls are going places and where they're going and who's entering the portal, because it's crazy. And even at the very top programs, I mean, these coaches are pulling transfers that are best players in the country. They're stars on the teams they're at right now. And these coaches are pulling them to other programs. It's crazy. And like, obviously we never know the full reason why the transfer is happening, but there's obviously always a lot of talk about a coaching change or people leaving the program or whatever it is. And it's become really crazy in the volleyball world for sure.
Volleyball, and when I started diving into a lot of these other sports, like as bad as football is, sports like volleyball and baseball, they're wild with transferring, and I'm sure they're obviously basketball's wild with it.
Yeah, I feel like basketball's really bad with that too, honestly.
It is, and it's all I think your point about female athletes versus male athletes. There is a big. I remember. I can't remember the coach's name who coached Mia Hamm in college in soccer, and he used to coach male athletes. And when he started coaching female athletes, he talked about the difference between the male teams. Males could warm up, didn't have to really talk to each other, go through their warm up, like didn't have to say boo to each other. I mean, there's some kids that do, but like they didn't need that connection. And he tried to apply that with the North Carolina soccer team, and he was struggling to win games. And what he didn't realize was that they wanted the connection between each other, and so he allowed them to kind of hang out before practice started. They would be like in a circle, the girls talking, and they would warm them up in a capacity with connections and a lot, like a lot of high fiving and a lot of different types of things to really get them to connect with each other.
There's like a quote that I heard, and it's like, I can't remember where I heard this, so I wish I could quote who it was. It was like, men battle to bond and women bond to battle. And I was like, oh my God, that's so true. Because guys, you're already bonded because you're playing the next team. Like, they're your enemies, your buddies, no matter how much you don't like them outside of volleyball. You're their best friend right now because they're setting you the ball. So you guys are like bonding as you're battling your enemies. Whereas women, you need to bond first and then be like, now we're going to beat this team because we're great together. And it's just like, whenever they said that, I cannot remember who. I wish I remembered who said that. I really should write down.
Quote.
No, it's so good. I feel like it really applies to the difference of men and women's sport across the board.
Yeah, Katie, and I realized that this year, taking on the girls' flag position at our high school, right? Like it was so. I mean, look, 16 years of coaching high school football, right? Like this rejuvenated me to coach the females and the girls. I mean, it was an unbelievable experience, so eye-opening in just how different it really was. On like, boots on the ground, seeing it from it is, having absolutely zero to do with the sport itself, the X's and O's of it. Like that meant absolutely nothing. Like these girls, I mean, if you showed that you cared even a little bit more, you know what I mean? Like, hey, do you need a sweatshirt? Or, you know, it's cold. Like literally these small things like were just absolutely unbelievable. They now were so bought in. So, coach, what do you need? Like, how do we do this? Right? Like, they wanted to be there, but once you showed that you actually cared, and I'm not saying that, you know, males aren't like this. It just showed an entire level of buy-in for the females, where once they knew that I supported them any way, shape, or form, you know, like on and off the field, it was just like a totally different experience, right? Like, you had to earn that trust before they were going to go and run the route like you told them, or they were going to, it was so rejuvenating and fun. And they were just so excited to like be a part of it. You realize really quickly, like, guys don't care. They're there because, look, we're going to do this. We want to win. Like, that's all that matters. Like, coach, thanks for the help. But the girls, you needed to like, coach, you care? Okay, now we go. And that's right. It was awesome. And I loved it. And it was so great to kind of just get that. And it was just really, really awesome. And now, I mean, they, you know, I just got 17 new babysitters, right, for my daughter. Like, they were all in, and they continue to do like that same thing. They don't understand, you know, like, it's just different for them. The buttons you push with females are different than the buttons you need to push with boys in terms of aspect, to getting them ready to compete together. And the team bond, like, we did more team bonding stuff off the field, benefited us way more than going out there to practice and running an hour worth of plays or things of that nature. Like, the things we did to get them to become a team and to like care about each of the girls, like, that was what put us in a better position, like, to be successful.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
The transfer portal, that's what's changed. That bonding is a lot harder, I think, for female athletes. Because of that.
I think it's across the board, though, right? Like, the locker room doesn't really matter, right? Because guys will just bounce and go. They're not concerned with, man, I really like this team and I want to be a part of this. And, you know, I think they're just,
depending on the coach with the transfer portal, depending on the coach and the kind of players you do bring in, I think guys can bond. I mean, I just see it from my alma mater. Like, we have 1 million transfers at UConn. And trust me, I know I'm on the inside, and I know there's quite a few guys that do not get along, but they can do it. They could do it on the field together. It's not that they don't hang out, these guys, but when they know that they're able to quickly get together a mission and focus on that mission to be able to be successful because they understand it. I think that's probably harder as a whole on the female aspect, but there's one other thing I want to bring up, and I'm curious your opinion on this. One of the biggest elements for NIL for female athletes, which is very different than male athletes, is TikTok, the dances, how they look, right? Yeah. And that I've noticed a huge, and obviously 2 or 3 of the biggest, at almost every big NIL deal for female athletes are women that you would say are very attractive, okay, for the most part, right? And there might be a couple of exceptions. There are a couple of exceptions. But even those girls that are exceptions are trying to make that becomes a focus of their persona as well, even if they're not, quote unquote, you know, attractiveness is their main thing. Their skills are their main thing. But they're still – talk about what you see, I don't know, the good, the bad, and the ugly of all this, because I look up and every girl athlete that's an attractive girl at playing a sport, and that's one of, you know, the influx of sports in the female aspect. You have all different types of girls that play. You have super attractive girls. You have girls that are focused on sports, but the girls that are all trying to build a platform for themselves. They all want to be the next Livy Dunn. All of them that are. I'm not saying all, maybe not all, a lot of them want to be the
them,
next. A lot of, not all of them. A lot of them want to be the next Livy Dunn because there is a financial payoff. There is some independence that comes with that, right? For them to not, whereas it's not only it doesn't end when their sport ends, right? Just like the girl basketball players from Miami, the Twins. The same thing with them, right?
The Cavender twins.
Cavender. It doesn't end, so for them, whereas football or any boy sport, if they don't make the pros, that money, that's why they're staying as long as they humanly could stay in college, because that money, NIL money, will more than likely end unless they become a pro, or it's going to be significantly cut back. They're going to be reduced to appearances at a local bar in their local college, So, whereas women athletes are not. Livy Dunn,
if they're lucky.
I didn't even know for a long time what college she went to. I didn't know that she was an All-American gymnast for a long time until I really dove into it. So her wealth is creating college from these platforms, but extends way beyond college. She doesn't have to be a pro athlete. She can model clothing or whatever after it because of what she was able, the brand she was able to build in college. Talk about what you see as the pros and cons of this, and I'm curious. I'm sure it's a thing that you see, and is there any advice that you give women on this?
I mean, that's where, so one of the big teams that does this right now is the Nebraska girls. A lot of them are really building a platform. They are the it thing when it comes to college women's volleyball. They're number one in the country. They're phenomenal. They're undefeated, like all this. They basically are everything that everyone's ever wanted to be as a volleyball team. So a lot of their girls, even if they're not like the best on the team, even if they're not starting, even if they barely see time, I see them all over social media. They have ad deals with food brands. They have ads with clothing brands. They're selling all types of stuff. And they're probably making a really decent chunk of change off of this, like just by being on the Nebraska team. And some people will be like, they should have transferred, they'd be a starting whatever at whatever program or, sorry, my cat's absolutely going crazy. And I'm like, yeah, but you guys don't understand. They're getting so much money from being at the practice at Nebraska. They stand on the bench and cheer for their teams. And then they go to their social media and they're selling so much stuff and they're getting so many deals, or they're doing like a get ready with me for the game. And people are in there sending, like, imagine if your football guys get ready with me for the game. And they're just getting gifts sent to them over and over and over again. I mean, people are in there sending them hundreds of dollars worth of gifts every single game to just be doing their hair in front of the camera.
That's unbelievable.
And then even like Harper Murray is she's the biggest name in college volleyball right now. She's got Adidas billboards all over the place. I mean, she's up on the Lincoln Library or whatever it was, projected up before their opening night. And they've just been able to turn that program into such a good platform for the girls to start a career, whether it's sports related or not sports related. They have been able to make that platform into something that most programs, especially in the volleyball world, just does not have that. And I think it's great, honestly. I think if these girls can go out there and they can get money for selling clothes, and I mean, Livy Dunn, she's dating that baseball player, right? That professional guy.
Yes.
But if she can make her money off of selling her yoga pants from Viore brand, I bought some of their stuff. It's great stuff. If she can make money off of that, then so be it, because the pro just isn't the pro money, especially in women's sport, just is not there.
Not there.
I mean, we heard it all with the WNBA. They want to get paid the same as the NBA. And it comes down to the business of the WNBA doesn't bring in as much money. They're not going to get paid as much. I mean, I'm sure the pro volleyball players in this country aren't making millions. They're not signing huge contracts. They're probably making a decent wage. But if these girls can make 10 times that by selling their hair ties that they use for the game, or, selling their personality on social media, I personally love it, because I think for women's sports, it's a nice little touch of, we have a little bit of a leg up on the men's side of it. But
there's no doubt.
It's exclusivity to that sport and to women, right? It is their own little thing that they have.
And dress, no one.
Right.
Well, but listen, there's a market for that too, right? Or some of these guys, I love when I see the female, like softball players or lacrosse players at these big time universities. And they're like, hey, we just got it's a new gear day. Here's the haul we got, right? Oh, I got this shirt. I got these pants. I got these sneakers. My algorithm has that shit on it because that's enticing. That's fun to watch. That's like, you know what I mean? Like, so if they can go spin it and get a buck from that, like kudos to them. Like, why we not allow that? I see, my
a good example of actually like a man who should have stayed in college was Shedeur Sanders. Like,
oh yeah,
like if he came back, he would
whose
have
house who just lost 200,000 because his house got robbed.
Did you realize? I didn't even know that. But he would have made $10 million at minimum this year. Minimum.
Yeah.
Endorsement deals,
Easily.
NIL, and went to the pros. I think over, obviously, it's hard. You're Deion Sanders' son. Like, how do you not? I get all that, but if they kind of like just took a step back, first of all, the team would have been obviously better at Colorado. He would have made $10 million easily this year. Easily, he probably would have had a chance to win the Heisman, if not won the Heisman Trophy, which would have made him even more money. And even if he was not, does not become a good pro, he would have been set for life. But what happens is he leaves. That part of it is not as prevalent anymore for him in Colorado. If there was a female athlete, the same version of him at Colorado, she would have the opportunity for that brand to really live on outside of her athletic performance, which I think is really cool. You brought up the Livy Dunn baseball player. He's a great baseball player, pitcher. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Paul. But he's getting paid obviously a ton of money. He's probably making equal to what he's making without having to play the sport. Right. He's got to go out there and pitch. You know what I mean? Like, he's got to go out there and Paul skiing. And so he's got to go out there and pitch every week. And so I think
those girls in their like TikTok lives before the game, they're probably making more money than most people are making in a week of working like an actual job just by doing their hair on camera. If they can do that, oh my God, I do my hair on camera every day.
100%.
Like, yeah. So I think it's great, but I don't know what it's going to turn into. Like, I don't know where's the end of this. Like, we don't really know what's this going to eventually turn into. And then with that too comes, they're now public figures. There's open, anyone can buy tickets to the games. People become obsessed with people like that.
Right.
I'm sure they deal with a lot of stuff outside that we don't see. Right. So especially when it's an attractive
the security
female
aspect and things of that nature.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. And then they're at college and, anyone can just walk on campus and they know that Harper Murray's at Nebraska and she's got, she's going to go to practice. So there's obviously a downside to it as well that we don't see as much. And we just don't know where it's going to end. Like,
she's going to be at this bar for this event, right?
Right. Well, Paige Beckers dealt with it last year at UConn. She was making.
You're a pseudo celebrity without bonus,
Right.
Like that celebrity status. You know what I'm saying? Like where the free access, like I'm not saying on the level of Kim Kardashian, but like.
Yeah, well, there is an element to that. She was making upwards of $3 million last year, and she had to have security to go places around campus. Like, she didn't. I don't know how she went. Even if she went to class that directly went to class, because she needed to have security everywhere she went on UConn's campus, which is pretty. When I heard that, I was like surprised. I was shocked. Like, that's how big a celebrity. She was going to campus to class. People would come up to her constantly. So
sure. Yeah,
she can never walk across campus.
Access.
Right. And she was that was the first time that UConn dealt with that on the female side, and hers was she's okay attractiveness. She's presentable, but she's also the greatest. What was like the best basketball player in the land, and she was decently attractive. It was a combination of skills and looks that created a fame that was just out of it. Like, when I would hear about it, they would say, like, she can't go to class. She can't, like, she would get mobbed, and not just for people on campus, students. Yes, there were those people, but fans would come onto campus, like you said, to try to catch a glimpse of her. going to her
Right,
basketball.
like paparazzi almost, right? Just trying to grab like some type of interaction or something where now they can spin it, put it on their social media and say, hey, like, and now look, that's the negative side of it, unfortunately, like, but these are the times with social media where everybody gets presented like there's like the accessibility is okay, here this person is, and now you have the freedoms to go and do and say whatever you want, right? Like, and that's really difficult too, because you know, for every 10 people that love you, there's another 25 that want you to fail. That, you know, oh, well, they're looking for dirt on you anyway, to like, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, like, that's a side that you have to talk about and bring up. And I just hope that it doesn't go that way and it stays extremely positive. I don't know if it can, you know, be avoided in any way. I mean, it's kind of something that goes hand in hand with being on that level.
Right. And Harper Murray's story kind of has that, because she did get in trouble with the law for, I think it was between her freshman and sophomore year. And so a lot of people bring that up as like, why is she the face of Adidas right now? Why is she getting all this stuff? Like, why are you supporting her? Because she did this and this. And they made the documentary about Nebraska volleyball and how she's changed and how she's like a completely different person. But you still see the negative comments on her social media all the time. And, you know, I'm sure that like volatile situation is just going to continue to happen, because at the end of the day, they are young humans. They do make mistakes, and you know, there's always going to be that where they're trying to find the dirt on them. But I just hope it continues to be positive for the athletes, you know?
Right. And part of that process too, though, is you spin that and you say, look, like, yes, this is the face of what it is, and they're not perfect. And that's the world that we live in. Everybody has an opportunity to, you know, you make your mistakes, but you learn from them and you spin it. You know, that's the way you look at it. Like, you know, not everybody is perfect. That's how it's kind of it's just not now with social media. We have access and everybody sees all of those things that, you know, even 5 years ago you didn't know about, because you know we just didn't have the access to it. Now it's literally something happens and you know about it 2 minutes after it happens, and that's not even what it was. It's just somebody's interpretation of what they saw, or that or this. That's kind of goes hand in hand with it, which is unfortunate. But you know, I just think the pros outweigh the cons in every way, shape, or form when it comes to that.
Yeah, I think so right now too. Hopefully it continues that way.
Well, listen, it's been awesome.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Really, really insightful stuff. You know, we're so heavy male dominated in our conversations and all the stuff we do. So I think it's really important to touch on the female aspect side of it, what they deal with, especially at the college level, and different sports as well, because it's, you know, we have a wide variety of people that come view our stuff, and we want to make that we get everybody that's interested in learning about sports and college and being recruited and being a better athlete. So it's been great having you on. What's the best way that people can reach out to you if they want to have a discussion, they want to talk more, they want to get help with the, you know, recruiting?
Yeah, so right now my main thing is my TikTok page. I have young kids, so I try to stay off of other social medias with my kids, especially. I can't. So my TikTok page is Get Recruited with Katie. I'm Katie, D3 Recruiting, and you can reach out there if you have any questions. I do get a fair influx of football guys in my DMs, most of the time very set on D1 and not the build for D1, I will say. But I do get a fair amount of football guys looking to get into the recruiting process. So yeah, it's Get Recruited with Katie, and you can reach out there. Go ahead and follow along and DM me any questions you have or comment whatever, and we'll connect on there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll see you real soon. If you ever need anything, definitely reach out. We're glad to talk some more.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It was like a pleasure talking with both of you. Yeah.
All right.
No, it's awesome. Like I said, I found you on TikTok, and I just the content that you're doing, it's so informative. It's really good. So appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right. All right. You know what? I have a mic for you that will help. I gotta get. I wonder if this mic I'm gonna send you will help a little bit.
I have one.
No, more instead of through the headphones. Like what's because it
What do you
comes like instead of through your mic is through your headphone, right?
No, my mic. I have an actual mic.
Then there's always like a little bit of feedback, and I can't figure out where it comes from.
Like I literally have my microphone.
That's how you should hold it. You should do it like that from now on.
Maybe because it's just too far. Maybe because it's just too far away.
Yeah, do that again.
I'm gonna get the arm.
Bring it. But if you talking to it now.
Like here.
Yeah, it's a big
Or like
difference.
right about here.
But if you're
then I could do that. I could just move it. Like I could just move it.
I think if you bring it, I didn't realize that.
Because I like it.
Yeah, so that might.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so if I just do that, then that'll work better.
That makes a big difference. Now I don't know. The feedback could be: do you plug your headphones into what is that plugged into?
I put the headphones. I have everything that goes. Like it's through a USB.
Yeah, I think the headphones might cause a little bit of feedback. I'm not sure why.
So if I take off the headphones and just
like
go like this,
if you just use your computer, can you still hear the same way? Can you hear as well?
See. Oh, take off this. Now I can just go like now. That's just the microphone.
Much better, dude. It's way better.
That's better.
Yeah, I feel this is not a you issue. It's I think whatever the StreamYard software is, because I used to wear headsets, and the headset used to cause feedback in my thing, and I don't know why it is. It has to be with something to do with StreamYard, but I can hear you. I hear you more clearly, but I don't get any feedback from the like if you move with your headsets for some reason it starts to jostle when you go to talk.
Yeah, see.
Now it's good.
See, if I put that in, then like you know what I mean? Like I can't hear like if I put so now this is like without a mic. This is just computer only.
I hear you really good.
Maybe I mean, so that's that, and then the other, and then because if I put,
or maybe it's just your computer. Maybe it's the computer.
Well, I can do that. Yeah, I could do. Let me. Yeah, I can. I don't know. Tomorrow I'll use a different one and kind of go to the other one. I gotta update some stuff.
Your mic is good. Your mic is good. When you brought it in close, like it sounded really, really like good.
Yeah, I like the mic. The mic's excellent. Honestly, like I said, I don't know what's up with like StreamYard itself, whether it be like with connection wise, dude. Like it's really kind of crazy. It's weird. Like I said, like the intro, you go through the intro and then it cuts me out and then I have to go back into it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like
I think it's very sensitive. So like when I go on StreamYard, like when if you know when I freeze. So if I go and try to like go to another tab to look at something while we're on StreamYard, that's when you'll see me freeze. Like all of a sudden I'll freeze. That has nothing to do with my computer, obviously. It has to do with something with StreamYard when you switch tabs or something, right? There's that's my guess because nothing else does that other than, but when I'm talking straight here and I don't go move any tabs, I don't do anything. No problem whatsoever. As soon as I go and check something, if I want to check somebody's, look up somebody, you know what I mean, or something in another tab, all of a sudden I'm in like a strange land. You know what I mean? Where I freeze and like I think it's StreamYard, to be honest. But although you do sound better, it's something with StreamYard and the computer. You know what I mean? Like something with StreamYard and the computer. So even on my computer, which is mine's a Mac, I don't know what yours is, but it does it.
Here, well, let's see. Hang on, I'm gonna.
You want me?
So this is now I'm on. All right, let me. I'm gonna. This is. Let me get out of. Let me close my one computer and I'll do the other. All right, so now this is a different
computer.
How does that sound?
Clear.
Okay, hang on. Let me do one more thing. Let me see if I put the mic through this one, because obviously this is like, and this is a Chromebook.
Chromebook. What was the other one?
What was the other? Actually, no, I'm wrong. The other one was a Chromebook. This is a Dell or an HP. This is an HP. So let me see if I plug this into. Let me see how this goes. So that with that. Let me see. How does that sound? Does that sound better?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll use that one. And I can use
there's no chop. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so then we can do it.
Or it might be your computer, whatever.
Yeah, dude, I mean,
it's software with whatever StreamYard. Right.
Yep. And then I can just use it that way, and then still have all the other stuff with it. You know what I mean?
Yep. I think that's what it must be. It must be like
StreamYard good
interacting with that computer for whatever. Like, just like my computer, I can't go through tabs.
Well, that's why I kind of have two. You know what I mean? So I can always keep the one open while we're doing the pod, and then I have like the other one. You know, because look, it's Chromebook, it's smaller. You know what I'm saying? So it can literally sit in front of me as we're doing things, and I can look up whatever we need to, or you know what I mean? Like just have some informational stuff that's up there while we're doing whatever. Like that always, you know, helps and whatnot with what we're doing. But if that's better, then I'll use this one moving forward, because you know, it is so annoying. Like, and I don't know what updates or changes that StreamYard is making or trying to improve. You know what I'm saying, dude? But it's like, you guys are trying. I get it. Thank you for trying to like get better, but at the same time, it's the same way people are like pissed right now when it comes to like the updates to Twitter or X or whatever, with all the chats and all those things that are happening now. Like the messaging system is totally different. They're trying to make it almost like your text messaging, dude, like encrypted message, non-encrypted message. Like, dude, like I'm like, what the hell?
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea.
So many people are like, this is ridiculous. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, you could add so many features. That's what it is, and it's like, just, you know, sometimes don't need all those features. You know,
like why does everybody feel like they just have to constantly go in a different direction? Like, why can't you just stay in your lane, and like a good thing is a good thing, and why does it always have to be more? And of course it is.
As soon as they see a flattening of the revenue, that's 100% what it comes down to. Because remember, they have to go to X is owned is a public company. Flattening of revenue. Oh no. Shareholder value is not going to continue to rise. We need to figure out a new way to get revenue. People aren't paying for this service or that service anymore.
Right.
Maybe we need to try another service that can help them pay for it. You know, it's just like with Apple coming out with a new phone every year, right? Like, do I need that new phone? I don't even know what phone I have anymore. I don't even know.
I don't know. You know how I find out every time? Because I can never remember it. I go to like settings, and then where it says like general, and then go to about. It tells you exactly what you have. Like, you know, I have an iPhone 15 and iOS what version. Like, because when I'm going and looking for like a case or something like that, the last thing I want to do is spend $17 on a case and it doesn't fit. Like, I'm usually the guy that opens the box and puts my phone in it in the middle of Five Below, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna buy it." Like, what? Yeah.
So I have an iPhone 16 Pro. I don't even know what version. I don't even know what phone
that is. I have an iPhone 15. Like, you know what I mean? Like that means that like your case is different than my case. Like, that's like what it goes down to, dude.
Yeah, I don't even know what that. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what version that is either. By the way,
I just think it's so wild too. I like. You used to be. I know. For me, like when I was teaching too, like people would be coming to me, like older teachers would be like, "Hey, you're young, and like we're doing this new technology. Like, can you help me with this, dude?" I am now the person that's like, "Hey, so and so on my team. Like, how do I do this on TikTok, or how do I do?" the youth understand this. I have no clue. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you tell me how to do this stuff and make it like something, because I don't know. I'm not that person anymore who has it, like, gets this. Like, it's crazy, dude.
So many of the things are like, I had to go through all my subscriptions and one by one, and when they come in, like, if you pay for one, I've been looking at all, like, I'm paying for shit that I don't even use.
100%.
For years.
100%. And I have now things that, because so many people are like combining and whatever, my subscriptions are now like overlapping, or I'm paying extra to have it individually where I could bundle it with other things, like, you know. And I'm mainly talking like streaming, like videos, and you know what I mean? Like just like, oh, look, I have YouTube TV. Okay. It was like a thing, like, for 2 weeks when they went out with when Disney was like pulled out and ESPN pulled out. Dude, that gives me absolutely everything I need, you know, especially with, like, look, as long as I have Disney, like, with my daughter, we're good, right? I could do all that. My wife now with YouTube TV has all the Bravo shit and all the trash reality TV. That's all she needs, right? I have ESPN. Like, what am I paying for all this other nonsense for? Like, why? So I could see one show for, or like, I don't have time to watch TV, dude. Like, what are we talking about? Right?
Hey,
like,
I'm looking at my thing right now. I have a subscription. I don't even know how to figure out what this is.
that's the other thing.
KRNLSRL. What is that?
I had a
design services. I don't even know, how do I get a hold of the people?
I had something come out the other day. It was like $12.99 subscription for da 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 da. I'm like, what the hell is that? I have no idea what it is. And then it's like, oh, well, it's this company, that company, this company. I said, I don't know what it is. How do I find out what the hell is this that I'm paying for, other than, you know, oh, and there, of course, there's no number. And if there is a number, you're calling and you're sitting talking to not a human, right? Like, hey, I have this issue, press 2. Oh, I have this issue, press 7. Like, I don't know what's going on, dude. It's insane.
It is absolutely, positively insane. I can't even figure it. I'm looking right now. I've been paying for months. I don't know what it is. It may be a legit service. It may be something I use. Can you at least put the name of it in there?
No, because everything is under another company's name that, you know, oh, with this, they do the billing, or they, you know what I mean? It's subbed out to someone. Everything, because that's $2 cheaper per customer or whatever it is. There's no one-stop shopping anymore, dude. Like, nobody handles all their stuff in-house. And it drives me freaking Looney Tunes, dude. Like, all I want to know is where $12.99, like, what it's going towards.
Where's from? Just please put a phone number at least, so or an email or
right. Well, look, we know how email works. The email used to be like, okay, you're gonna get a response. Now all of a sudden it's like, hey, is it in your spam? Is it in your junk? Did it go to like?
And you know what else? I call these guys up when I see a subscription I don't use anymore, right? And they just ping me. Like, let's say they ping me right now, okay, for say $10. I call up or email and I say, hey, listen, I don't need this service. Can I get my $10 back? I haven't used it for like 6 months. We can't refund you because it already initiated.
It already happened.
I'm not
and
using
it's like, oh, but we'll give you
my $10 back. You already got 70 from me. You needed the other 10?
You needed to cancel by the 15th of the month. So now, okay, you're going to get billed one more time, but we'll cancel it after that. It's like, all right, dude, you got to know.
What a scam.
Like, dude, we sound like such old heads right now. Like, it is awesome, dude.
It is a scam, dude. It is a scam. Like, I mean, listen, I get it. I didn't pay attention. No problem. You got me for 6 months. Now I discovered it. Can I get my $10 back that you just pinged me? You already made 60 times 1,000 people off of me. All right.
100%, dude. 100%.
Like, I mean, come on. Yo, and they got to squeeze the extra 10 out of you.
I'm like, you really need that $10, dude. Like, come on, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, somebody else just bought the premium package for $79.99 for the next year, right? Because you gave them 10% off up front if they paid for a year in advance. Then in a year, it'll automatically renew, and somebody will be like, what did I just pay $79 for? And have no idea what it is. Like,
I had the group that I use for email, which I don't even think it's great service, but I use this group for email, and I was paying upfront for a year. It gave me like I don't know, a while back I did it with a significant discount. I paid upfront for it. Well, then they came out with another program where I would get all their services, which I don't even really use. I don't know why I did it, but from on a monthly, like a significant lower amount, I got all their services, like the chat thing, which I don't even know how to, I can't figure it out, and then all these other things, right? So like subscriptions, which I don't use because I can't figure it out. So all these other things, but anyway, I got a monthly amount, which over 12 months is actually more than the upfront thing I was paying for the email. So it comes around. I said, okay, I have this service. I don't need the other service, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, no problem. It pinged me for the year thing. Okay. I'm already getting it with this other monthly thing. And they just because I have my card and I didn't like hit some sort of button, even though I emailed back and forth to them, they're like, no, we can't give it back to you. I said, okay, I'll just go call my bank then and they'll give it back to me because I'm already paying you for the same service on a different plan. So why are you pinging me twice? The guy was like, like after like going back and forth 50 times.
Back and forth.
Finally.
Back. Because that's what they want. They want to make
time.
it so hard that you don't want to do it and you just give up and you're like, you know what? This isn't worth it. Screw it. Just take it. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what they
could have looked. He knows I have the others. I'm paying monthly for the same. I'm getting all these additional services, but I still have the email service with it. Why would I pay twice? And that was my thing. Was why would I pay twice for the same service? You know, it's craziness. Like, you know, like I took your deal, the unlimited deal. I did it, and now you want to ping me twice. But this is all the time. This is not just like this is all the time. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Meanwhile, I'm refunding people that play 5 weeks in a flag league and then decide they wanted to bail out because they cry so much. You know, after already getting everything.
Right, you got all the gear. You've already played 3 games, but now you want your money back because why? Because it's cold.
Coach wasn't nice or something. I don't know. You know, some coach wasn't nice. But you know what the truth is, like on that, even though I usually figure something out for them.
Right here, you can have such and such like the next
There's
whatever.
A
like
yeah. with a
they don't understand. They don't understand
uniforms.
That.
There's fields, but like a
referees,
software,
like they don't understand
software. There's no cost with software. You already built the system. You know what I'm saying? For you to give me back the money, it wasn't like you already built the system. So, I mean, I guess there's electrical cost, you know, and your server cost, but like, if I didn't use it, there was no additional server cost. You know, but it's funny, but yeah, those subscriptions, dude, I could go on all day long on it, and the TV ones. Like, I mean, do we need? No. Everybody's gonna have their own subscription. We have to. I got to subscribe to the Derek channel and the Dave channel too.
Right. Like what happened? You should have like everybody was like, "Oh man, it's so much cheaper than cable." Like, no, it isn't. Add it all up, dude. No, it isn't. Like now we're back to whatever. Like now I'm paying just as much. Only I'm paying 5 different people rather than just paying one. Or hey. More. Hey, my Wi-Fi is this, or my Wi-Fi. Like, look, well, you can get this, but it won't give you your Wi-Fi, or you won't have 5G, or whatever it is, dude. Like, it's just so back and forth, bro. It is crazy.
It is crazy, right? Like, you know, if I was a cable service, and I don't know if this is possible, this is what I would do. If I wanted to get all my business back, I would go to all these services like Netflix and
YouTube, who's literally in your backyard now.
Right, all of them, and go to them and say, hey, can we get a package where they get everything and I could charge them one rate? Maybe I make $1 a month off of it, but it's for the most part a pass through. But I keep all my customers, right? That's the thing. Why wouldn't you go to them if you're Verizon or I don't know, what do we have?
I think I don't have.
I have Xfinity. You have Xfinity.
Yes, I have Xfinity for my Wi-Fi.
That's what I have.
And I cut out the TV cable part of it.
So did I.
Which saved me a buku bunch of bucks. But now I'm like, dude.
Yeah, but you have Netflix.
But
Probably.
I have Netflix. I have
Disney.
Amazon Prime. I have
So do
the
I.
Disney. I have the Disney bundle, which gives me Disney, ESPN,
And
and
Hulu.
Hulu, which smart move. But I also have YouTube TV, which has
So do
all
I.
of those things included. Like,
So what did you like if you could if Xfinity said, "Hey, we'll have all of these for you,"
right.
and I negotiate a rate with each one of them that's much lower to me,
Yep.
and now I could come to you as Xfinity and say, "I have everything." Wouldn't you subscribe to that and it was a reasonable rate? And
Tomorrow.
then I just think that Netflix, they're all going to come crashing down eventually. Netflix, Hulu, all of them. There's no way they all sustain when everybody's adding new services. You know, there's all other ones that I don't even subscribe to. Like my favorite is the free that comes with my TV. What's the name of it? Troy, Get TV? No, not Get. What is it called? Yeah, what is it? What is it called? The TV thing, the free TV. Samsung.
Does he use? Do you use Tubi? I use Tubi.
Tubi, yeah, it's free because you just get commercials.
Yep. And that's the other thing. Oh, I'm gonna pay $30 extra to not have ads. Like, I'll sit there for 35 seconds. Like,
Me too.
Sorry, I
I
might
don't
be the
give a
old
shit.
head. Like, I remember commercials. Like, I just love it. It's like, dude, you watch a Thursday night game on Amazon Prime, and now like all the QR codes are popping up. Like, hey, do you want? Oh, it's Progressive. Would you like a rate? Like, hit the QR code. I'm like, people have to do nothing. Like, we don't have to do
Nothing
shit anymore. Like, call 1-800. Like, I mean, where are those days, dude? Like,
Yeah, remember that?
Dude, like, oh, hey, mom, like, the movie's over. 1-800 collect. Mom, pick us up. Click. Like, no, I don't need the collect call, but I just had a conversation with my mom, right? Because we didn't have cell phones that, like, shoot a text. Like, it's a totally different world we're living in, brother.
I tried for a week. I got this chat bot thing, put it on our pages, and it would interact with you, and then it would take a call. And dude, all people did is hang up on it
because they're like, I'm not talking to this.
So I got rid of it. I'm like, why do I do that shit?
Don't.
They just hang up on it anyway.
Yep.
Like, so I'm going to pay for it, and they're just going to be like,
Piss off.
Yeah, they're going to be pissed off because the guy goes, "Hi, what service would you like?" Oh, interested in camps. And he's like, "Well, what type of camps would you like?" It's like, you know what? That's annoying. So everybody just clicks. Like, there's no. So I got rid of that, and then I tried like a chat on my site, and like, the truth is, I have to use it because all these sites make you use it. But as a small business owner, there's no point in having that because
everything is okay. Well, here's Hulu Basic. Here's Hulu Premium. Even X. Here's X. Hey, pay for your blue check. Okay, but now wait. The blue check only gets you this much stuff. So now pay for premium. Like, look at it like this, right? Like using X for our team, right? Like, if I don't have a blue check next to, Brick High School football media page, like X page, our guy's not going to like interact. Like, are they going to be like, screw it? Some coaches you can't message unless you have it. Like,
yep.
So I literally said to our head coach, I said, dude, we got to pay $120 for the year to get a blue check next to our thing so we can interact with college coaches better. Okay, Parents Club will take care of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but why do I have to do that? Like, I shouldn't have to do all that kind of shit. Like, it's insane. But because that's the way majority of these freaking coaches are, interacted. On that note, too, by the way, remember we had on Coach Hines, Kurt Hines from Coronado? Yeah. Fired.
Why?
They fired him last year after 9 years, and they didn't give him a reason. He did a video on it. Go to your Twitter. It's all over. Like, he did a video 40 minutes after it and was like, "Hey guys, Coach Hines, like, I got fired tonight. Like 9 years. We had a 6-4 season, yada yada. They brought me in and they let me go, and they said because it's whatever. Like, they don't have to give me a reason.
Why wouldn't they just give him a reason out of respect?
that's where I came, like, and that's what a lot of people are like, you're a man of faith, it's all going to work out. I don't think he's, you'll go get another job tomorrow. You probably have 50 people reaching out to you already, 50,000 people reaching out to you, right? Like, but it was, hey, they didn't give us a reason. They didn't, they told me I didn't need one. And look, he was very obviously respectful, where he could have like burnt it to the ground if he wanted to. But I mean, you're talking one of the biggest social media type coaches, right? With all positive stuff like coming out, this, that, and whatever, he gets fired. Like, and you should see the people coming after Coronado administration. Like, what do you guys like? What do you like? It's just,
they don't care though. People don't realize that administrators don't care. They just
don't give a shit. They're answering to a higher person as well, dude. Like,
they don't care. They're just doing whatever told. They don't care what you whether you like it, whether you don't like it, like
don't care.
And Coronado's a public school.
Coronado High School, I believe, is a public school. Yes,
in California.
Right,
and he's he's very open about Christianity and America, being America.
100%.
By the way, for a long time,
supporter of the troops. I always wondered.
You want to know what I always wondered with him? I always wondered in California how long he would last, not because he isn't great, because he is great, but because there's somebody at some point in a very liberal leftist state that is going to have an issue with it, because
how loud is that voice?
And how loud is that voice? And does the administrators side with them politically or not? I mean, the truth is that's a big part of it. Like, they don't have to say what their politics are, but they may. That might be their politics. They may have different politics. So now this person complains, and they actually side with them politically, and they're like, you know what? I'm with you. Like that happens. I have found in public school.
Public school is brutal.
Politics of the person leading, it doesn't have to say what his politics are, but whatever they are is going to dictate whether a football coach has success or not long-term as far as being able to stay there.
Right. And it's almost a surprise that he made it that long.
Right. And if someone is different than them, does it bother them or not? Now, some guys can be politically different than you. Okay, like to me, I wouldn't care if my football coach was different than me politically and did a great job, did the right things. I don't care what his affiliation is. I care that he does a great job by the kids, right? That's what I would care about. But there are a lot of people that it bothers them because they feel like that affects that, right? So that's always. I was always like, that guy has to go coach in like Arizona or something,
right?
Or go to a Catholic school, you know what I mean? Where that's less of an issue for him, because he's such a great coach. Because eventually he's always going to run into the same thing. He's in a state where politically it's going to be hard to if you believe a certain thing and you're forward about it, it's going to be very hard. I mean, look how terrible that situation is with that. What happened to the JUCO coach? I mean, the Last Chance U guy. That's crazy. That's crazy, dude.
The fact that you can be open and that openness of being actually who you are and actually having an opinion, right? Not being that person that just sugarcoats things or like just is who you are. And now you'll never have the goals and dreams and aspirations of your life are never going to happen again because you were who you were. That's fair.
Kills them. Someone goes and kills them.
That's fair.
I mean,
how brutal. Yeah. Right. Like,
what about Beam? How they got killed?
100%. I'm talking same dude. Like, he is who he is, and
a great guy.
And like, because of that, he probably allows open access to wherever, or anybody can just come in that office and look. That's what happens, dude. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Scary.
I don't know how.
Like, you know what I mean? Even how scary is that though? Like,
it is. Our number one discussion always on the Rebel Republic is really less about like political issues, even though we do talk politics. It's more about like, what is the world? What are we creating?
What have we done?
What kind of world are we creating where people can have discussions and disagree and like?
And
like,
why does it always have to come down to like violence? Like the
Why does
ultimate.
it come down to violence?
Like why can't like what's like? I don't care if you've had 5 conversations with that coach and they didn't go the way you wanted it to, but like now you're gonna like do that because he cared enough to tell you the truth or whatever. I mean, I don't know any of the behind the scenes
And
stuff. Obviously,
it's
like
it's the least. It's the and it's, you know what it is? The people who are most capable of actual physical violence, meaning the guys who are powerful, strong guys, are the biggest ones talking about how we should not be having this kind of thing happening. Meaning, like, if you were to get into physical brouhaha with most of these people who are firing a gun at somebody, like, they'd be in a lot of trouble. Okay,
100%.
But they utilize weaponry in a way.
They use something that's a privilege to have in our country against it.
Instead of using their mouths to discuss something, right? Instead of using, like, listen, how about I want to talk about this. I know Jalen Ramsey talks a lot of smack, but why is he spitting at him? Like,
did you hear Tomlin's reaction to it? Did you hear
lied about it?
Yep. Tomlin's reaction. He's like, look, man, like there's something natural that comes when somebody spits on you. End of story. Like, I'm not going to fault the guy for reacting the way he did or whatever, because that's what went down.
How are you going to spit on someone and then not think there weren't cameras on you and then lie about it?
And then double down and be like, no, it never happened. And like, hey, buddy, here's a video.
That's what you call gaslighting right there.
It's wild.
That's gaslighting. And that is craziness. He knows, unless he just completely blacked out, like mentally.
Which sometimes happens, right? Sometimes it happens, like when you that red, right? Like, I just saw red, and then 5 seconds later, it's like, oh shit, what just happened? Like, I don't even remember it. Like, all right, buddy, but like, come on, dude, you're a professional. Like, what are we talking about?
I think he knew he spit on
100%.
Come on. Like, I mean, he's
that's
at
the ultimate. To me, spitting, that's the ultimate. Like, buddy, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like, God, like that's the ultimate side of disrespect.
I feel like the guys who spit do that when they don't know any
other way
to fight back against you.
Yep. My cousin used to fight a lot and do whatever, but like he was like, I mean, he was a spitter, dude. Like if he got that fired up and whatever, that was his go-to. And I'm just telling you, dude, he put us in so many situations where you're like, you fucking idiot. Like, dude, what are we doing? Like, and I used to say to him all the time, I was like, you deserve to get punched in the face, like for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's the ultimate, like, dude, like figure it out. Figure out another way to go about it, dude. Like, please. Like
are you trying to ensure that
that this is going to be a fight? Like, do you have to make it this way? Can't we just end something without your bodily fluids ending up on somebody else? Like, because I'm so sick of this, dude. Like, it was just.
And you know, when you spit on somebody, I feel like the other person gains a willpower and strength to them,
dude. Now you're talking about a guy that doesn't fight is fighting.
Oh yeah, and that now he's locked in. You've locked him in.
And now his punch is 10 times harder because you've literally just taken it to an entire different level.
Right.
You probably could have got out of here.
Yeah, he was thinking, well, maybe I'll fight. If I have to fight, I'll fight. Maybe I won't.
I don't really want to. I know what's going to come of it.
I don't really want to if I don't have to.
But you know what? That takes it to like 0 to 60 that fast. And that's the other part is it happens so fast. There is no thinking, like, because you just did that. Like, golly.
It used to be for me when I would be in one of those arguments and a guy would just look me dead in the eye and say, F you.
Right. And you're like, okay.
My fist would be implanted in their mouth immediately.
Yeah,
so like I was like, I was disagreeing. We were having a fight. We were being two jerks. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I really didn't want to.
But you just took it to a different level, bro.
I guess you really want me to.
Yep, like you wanted this to be what it's going to be now.
You want this to actually happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's really sweet. Like, nobody like, even when you're a guy that likes to fight, it's like you really like you'd rather
You really
not.
don't want to. You're like,
You'd really rather not if you don't
like,
have to.
we got to fight again. All right. You know what I mean? Like, you're trying your best to not have it happen.
Sure that it will happen.
100%.
Like your mind
let that bodily fluid fly.
Bodily fluid. That is exactly. I mean, that was like Jalen Ramsey wants to kill him.
Yes.
Like literally wants to beat the living daylights out of him.
That's it.
So, I mean, when he plays him next time, Chase ain't getting that off the ball.
It's going to be it'll be like the Andre Johnson, what's his name fight back in the day. What's the guy, the dude from the Titans, the corner when Andre Johnson and him went back at it. It was like, look, that happened the series before.
Not
no,
Sherman.
I'm trying to think of who it was. I forget. He was like a little Nat type guy. God, he was so good. But it was, look, like that happened the last series. I'm going out here. I'm not pressing this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm throwing a punch on the first series. You know, that's like you're already programmed. Cortland Finnegan. I remember, like, that's who it was. And it's like, I mean, look, it's the first thing that comes up on Google. Like,
yeah, like that's a whole different level than like even when Richard Sherman would be like, you put a sorry guy like Crabtree.
Right. That's different because that's still whatever. But you know what? Like the other shit just takes it to a different level.
That's a different level. All right, we're back tomorrow 10, right?
Tomorrow we have 2, and they're later, right? Because we have CC Murray, trainer from Laguna Beach, so that's at 3 p.m. And then Quisenberry, we're going to do another one with him at night at 9 p.m. So tomorrow our times are a little different just to get those guys in there. But
you got it.
All right, buddy. Have a good day.
All right, man. See you later. Bye.